Hi guys, this is Anthony, and today I'm going to be doing like a collection video, a very small collection video of my Janet Jackson albums. As you can see, it's very small and I have a lot of collecting to do. But the reason why I thought I'd do this video is because I've got a day off today and I'm a bit bored. I'm in the house all by myself and I thought I'd do a video. And actually last night, because I did my collection update yesterday, I shown the new Janet Jackson album I got all for you, and I listened to it last night, and I thought it'd be a great time to sort of talk about the albums and my opinion on each one. And I have to say that Janet Jackson is an amazing musician and artist as well. I would say she's like pretty much there with Michael Jackson as well, even though she's not as famous. But you know, Janet Jackson is still a household name. Especially in America where she's had huge success, which is a shame because in the UK she's had success here, but she hasn't had as much success here as America. But I'm very grateful that all these albums are here. I do think that the first few albums, particularly the first three, which is Control, Rhythm Nation 914 and a self-titled album, they should be remastered into deluxe editions. I'm thinking like 2 disc sets, like remixes, music videos, B-sides, the works. I think because the albums just, even though they don't really, you know, you can still listen to them now and they're still sound fresh as ever, but I just think that because of such good albums and the big sellers, that they could do nice new versions, just like how Michael Jackson albums are, like Bad 25 was released not long ago. But I'll just get started. When I was first introduced to Janet Jackson, it was a couple of years ago. It was actually around the time when Michael Jackson died, which was a sad time. But I always knew about Janet Jackson over the years. I remember the Scream video on MTV back in the day, and I remember Janet Jackson, like what she looked like and stuff, but I never actually knew much of her music. And then I bought, the first album I picked up was Janet the Best. It was sort of around the time when she performed on American Idol, which I watched while I was on holiday somewhere in the UK. And then I picked this up on holiday and I listened to it, and I was just amazed by this album. I always thought Janet Jackson was going to be like a one-track artist, like one track I'd like and the others will just, you know, won't be very good. But I love nearly all the tracks, even some of the songs that aren't as well known. I've just absolutely fell in love with them. I love how the disc set up as well. The first disc is all like really the 80s stuff, and then the second disc is like 90s and noughties stuff as well. And I'm absolutely loving it. I listened to the 80s CD at the beginning, and then I started to listen to the 90s one, obviously. And both albums are just as good as each other. And then I think it wasn't until this year that I actually wanted to pick up the albums, but I never actually found any besides the Velvet Rope and Janet, and I wanted to start from the beginning, which was Control, even though that's not her first album. Her first album was a self-titled album, and then there's one called Dream Street, I think it's called, but they're both very rare and didn't perform very well. But I'd say her first album in particular is Control, which is this one I've got. I've actually got this in an update video somewhere on my channel, and the box it came in originally was really old and tatty, and I got out and bought some new cases, and now it looks absolutely brand new. So yeah, that's a good thing. Absolutely fantastic 80s album. Not as many tracks on here as the later albums. There's 9 tracks actually, which isn't many, but in a way, even though there's only 9 tracks, it feels like a full album. You know, it just, even though, like I said earlier, I would love to see a deluxe set of this, because it just deserves it. I actually need to buy a new copy of this because the disc on mine is a bit damaged. When I play Nasty on the player, it like sort of skips a bit and then it just stops, so oh well. The booklet's a bit damaged as well, there's a bit of wear and tear there which I tried to tidy up myself. So yeah, brilliant 80s classic album. My favourite song on here is because it changes from every single time I listen to it. But I think that the best track is, well, the best single on here I would say is Nasty. I think I really like Nasty, but also like Control as well. I love how the intro starts now. She talks her way through telling it's all about control and all this, and yeah, it's brilliant. I also like there's a song called You Could Be Mine, which wasn't a single, but I love that song. So yeah, brilliant album, absolutely amazing. Next is Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, 1814. I keep saying 1914, but it's 1814. Sorry, really, really sorry. Yeah, a brilliant follow-up, and it's where Janet sort of found like it's a very dancey album, just one you can listen to and just have a really good dance. I can see really classic songs in this album. I think again it just needs a really deluxe edition, because all the music videos off this era are absolutely fantastic. All the choreography and all the black and white videos from like Miss You Much and Rhythm Nation. Yes, so it's a brilliant album. I picked this up as well with with Control a few months back, and again I've changed the cases because it's quite old. Great picture of Janet there. As all your lyrics as well. I like that one there, her with the panther. Because there is a song on here called Black Cat. Yeah, I don't know if it's any better than Control. I do think this album is a lot more versatile than Control, and it has more to offer than Control, but I think this one's a lot more dancier than the previous album, but in a good way as well. So yeah, my favourite song on here is, I really like Escapade. I just absolutely love that one, even though Escapade to me doesn't really represent what the album's about, but I just love that track anyway. And I also like Come Back to Me, but I do prefer the single version, which is on the Greatest Hits more. I just love the intro. And yeah, brilliant album again. Next is Janet, her self-titled album. Now, when I picked this up when I was on holiday a few months ago, I remember thinking I'm probably not going to like this album as much as the 80s stuff, because the 80s albums are just, mind-blowing. But when I picked this up and I listened to it all the way through, could be one of my favourite albums of all time. Actually, it's one of my favourite albums of all time. Absolutely fantastic album. Brilliant. Even though there's like 28 tracks on here, but most of them are interludes anyway. There's a lot of different songs to offer on here. Very, very has a lot of different choices, and every song doesn't sound the same. Each one sounds like a completely different story, different style as well. I love the intro, a song called Morning. That is one of the best album openers I've ever seen. Because if they ditched Morning and started with That's the Way Love Goes as a beginning song, it just wouldn't have the same effect on me. Morning is just a brilliant way to begin the album. But in a way, I would, because the last song in here is Whoops Now, I would actually love to see like another song similar to Morning to end the album. That's just my only criticism, but I shouldn't mind too much because fantastic album anyway. Let's have a look what it looks like inside. It's got like a very brown disc on there. I really would like to see this album remastered the most, because it's a timeless classic and it's a best-selling album, I believe. So why not? Yeah, it's just a case of because next year's 2013 and it'll be 20 years since this album was released. I really doubt they'll do a deluxe, but it's just so unfair. I just love to see it. I'd buy it straight away. If there was a few copies of it, like a box set and stuff, I'd buy a lot. So yeah, that's all your lyrics in there. Set in a very stylish way compared to her 80s albums. So yeah, favourite songs. Like I said, I like Morning. I also like You Want This. I think it's a very good dance track. There's a song in here called This Time as well. This time, when as soon as it begins, it sounds very spicy, and it just represents my childhood basically. And there's I love Again as well, pretty obvious to choose from, but I like that one. And also I like Whoops Now because it has a lot of personality and it's very fun and in your face. Next is The Velvet Rope, which I'm currently listening to at the moment, but I can't really say too much because, you know, I really want to get the hang of this album before I start to, you know, say too much, but I can't be bothered to wait anymore, so I thought I'd say what I think this is definitely a most personal album. It's very daring and the lyrics are very, you know, serious, and it's just a very great album. Because after the success of Janet, I think she could have easily released a load of tripe, but she didn't. She came back with something really, really spectacular. As all your lyrics as well. Some great photos, even though each photo is completely different to the next. So yeah, this was a very funny time in Janet's life, but again, huge success this album was. So yeah, I think if anyone's got any like things they want to say about these albums, like what's your favourite songs on here, or if you want to do any sort of video responses, or if you want to, you know, if you want me to subscribe to you, if you're a Janet fan, just let me know, and I'll, because any Janet fan I'm a big fan of, because, you know, she's amazing. Next is Janet All For You, which I told about last night. I picked this up recently and listened to it a bit, and it's a lot. I like to say this is the complete opposite of Velvet Rope. It's more fun. It's more, you know, lush. I like to say, even the front cover, you know, compare it. That's very serious and then very smiley, which I think at this time was a, you know, what Janet would have done next anyway. So I'm glad she took this route. Even though this was around the time of the Super Bowl incident. Can't help but laugh. Yes, there's some really great photos in here as well. Again, it has all your lyrics. So yeah. Really nice setup. Really, really nice. In a way, even though this album's 11 years old, it's aged really well. Looking at the booklet and everything. I can't believe it was 11 years ago since it was released. So yeah, there's some lyrics. I do think now so far, because even though I've only listened to this once, this is Janet's weakest album, but it's still brilliant. It's just because the expectations for the previous 4 albums, it's really high. So, and I'm missing a few of the albums. I'm missing Demeter Joe, 20YO, and I'm also missing, what's that other one called? I forgot the name of it. It'll be in here. This is Greatest Hits, by the way. There was also the Greatest Hits that was a huge seller back in the day, Design of the Decade. That's some really great pictures from each era in there. So I'm really glad I picked this album up because it was sort of like, you know, the beginning of listening to all Janet's classic hits and stuff. That's a great picture. 20YO. And Discipline, that's what it's called. I also keep thinking it was Escapade because it's one word, but that's the song. So yeah, I've got those 3 albums to collect, and probably, yeah, more singles to collect over the periods of time, and vinyls. I like to get some vinyls as well. And that is it, everyone. If you got any recommendations for me, like I said earlier, if you want to put a comment box below on your take of Janet Jackson, who's now one of my favourite artists of all time. Absolutely fantastic, and thank you very much for watching, and speak to you soon.